Welcome back to the reading vlogs. It is Tuesday. Let's start. Last week I didn't publish the footage that I had of the week because I started filming on Thursday. I didn't have enough footage at all. The week was just crazy with work, and as sad as I am about it, the work has to go first, sadly. Because it pays for my bills. So yeah, I didn't have a vlog last week, but I'm gonna do better this week. I already filmed Thursday's video, which I can then edit tomorrow, and it will be out on Thursday, which I'm really happy about. Other than that, I cut my hair. I mean, you probably can tell that it's not done by somebody who knows what he's doing, but like, yeah, I don't know. I'm debating on cutting my hair shorter. My partner is all for it. I just had a really bad experience with that when I was like 12 or 13, and ever since then I've been really afraid of cutting my hair short, and this is the shortest it has been since then. So yeah, I don't quite know, but it feels nice. It looks a little bit nicer because my hair tends to get really thin. I don't know. I can't decide what to do. But yeah, that was like a really like an impromptu decision last evening, which all my hair decisions tend to be impromptu late evening decisions. Might have to think that over. Let's talk about my reading a little bit. I think I finished the last one yesterday, but like I read two really good romance books that I want to talk about. The first one is called Sheltered, which is the first book in the Under the Silver Pine Sky series, and it is about two friends who grew up together, and then one of like the parents of the one move away like with him. Like they are called Luca and Austin, and Luca's parents move away for a job opportunity for his dad, and everybody's really heartbroken. And then 2 years later his parents die in an accident, and Austin hopes that he will come and move in with his family, but Luca actually decides to stay in the city and then lands in an abusive relationship with the lawyer who is like 13 years older than him. Like he is 18 when his parents die, and the lawyer is 32 already, like sort of like 14 years older than him. And he lands in an abusive relationship with the lawyer, and Austin doesn't really have an idea because Luca hides it really well. And then one night he nearly kills Luca, and the only thing Luca knows what to do is he calls Austin and is like, please get me out of here. So Austin goes, gets Luca out of there, and then the relationship starts to begin from there. But like there's a really long time of like healing and just Austin being there for Luca and just hiding his own growing feelings and all of that. So really cute book, really sad in parts. The ending was pretty impressive. It was kind of slightly darker, like not for the main characters, like but like for the rest it was slightly darker than I would have thought, and it does give you like an in into the second book. But the second book deals with heavy depression, and I don't know if I'm in the mood for that at the moment. But yeah, the second book is pretty much about another victim of the guy that Luca was together with that he never knew about, and that guy has really, really bad depression because of what happened to him, because there was a lot of everything in that relationship. So yeah, I don't know if I will read the second one, but the first one was brilliant. Really loved that one. 4.5 stars. And then the other book I read, which I need to search the name for because I lent that quite a while ago and then never got around to read it, is called Let Me Show You, a Grumpy meets Sunshine sports romance, where we have Blake and Cooper. Blake is like the really smart one who is socially awkward and shy and got bullied a whole lot and really mistreated throughout his life. And then he meets Cooper, who's a friend of his sister's, and Cooper needs some help because he, like, both of them are in their last year of college, and Cooper has a hard time with one of his classes, and he is on a scholarship at the school, so he really needs help to stay on the scholarship to finish his schooling. And so Blake's sister's like, my brother could help you, I will ask him, even though he normally doesn't do football players, because she doesn't know why, because Blake never told her, but like for him it's obviously because they treated him so badly throughout his childhood. So yeah, but Blake makes an exception for his sister, and then Cooper just worms himself into Blake's heart and is there for him, and then actually has to defend him from like one other football player mainly. And Blake gets like a whole friend group of like girls who are really there for him, who try to bring him out of his shell and get him to be more social and actually live life, which is what Blake wants to do. He just doesn't know how to do it. And yeah, it's a really, really sweet romance with like, I mean, I like the ending. The ending is like kind of like partially bad, but mainly good. And it isn't like, it is still happy-go-lucky, but like with a tinge of sadness, which works out for the way the story is told and it being a sports romance and stuff like that. So I did really like that. I felt it was a fitting ending, even though I personally love like a happy ending, but it was quite fitting. And yeah, both of the characters were really cute, pretty relatable on both sides, and yeah, I really like those two. Don't know why I didn't read it before, because I had it borrowed for like 2 weeks already, and I just read it, finished reading it last night, but it was really, really good. So yeah, I do need to search for new romance, which I will probably do tonight. I do also need to pick up a new physical book. I read Starsight last week. Not a fan of the book, but I knew that. I just wanted to get it over with. I'm kind of tempted to maybe go with the Brandon Sanderson I have, because I haven't read something by him in a long time that I liked. And the one that I do have are short stories of his fantasy and not his sci-fi. Or maybe I go with a book from a different author just to have like a Brandon Sanderson pause in there. I don't know yet. I haven't picked one up yet this week because yesterday and today work was still pretty heavy, but I fixed my issues today. My problems with work. So hopefully the rest of the week should be a lot chiller. But then again, we are supposed to get 40 degrees here on the weekend, this weekend, and we have never had such high temperatures here. So I'm probably gonna die of heat. We don't have an AC. I don't even have a fan in this room. I'm just gonna have to suffer through the heat. I'm not good with heat, so it's gonna be pretty like hard, but such is climate change, you know, wonderful thing. Other than that, I don't think I really have an update. I did start a new crochet project at the like 10 minutes ago, and this is how far I've come. I did the first row, you know, and now I get myself a snack. These are some cheese chips, which are really yummy and are gonna be my afternoon snack to get some protein in myself. And I did also continue with my cross stitch, but there's still not that much to see, but it is slowly getting fuller. So yeah, we are now all caught up, and I will check in with you as soon as I picked a physical read, because I really, really need to pick one. I just remembered another thing I wanted to talk about, which really annoyed me today. I don't know if it's the same in other places in the world, but here in Germany there are companies who try to like heckle you at your own door and try to sell you something. They always come and are like, oh, we are from the energy companies, and you're like, yeah, no, you're not. You're definitely not. Like, you can freely choose which energy company you want to use in Germany. You can just go to them, do like a 2-year contract with them, and then choose any other company you want. That's how it works here generally. And we had one come to the door today. My partner is in the office, so he isn't here, and I opened the door, and the first thing this guy said was, are you the daughter or are you the like tenant of this apartment here? And I was like, you really want to tell me I look like I'm not of age? Like, I'm sorry, I'm in my 30s. I just stood there and I was like, I am the one who owns the apartment and I want you to leave. I am not interested in anything you want to sell me. And then I just closed the door on him, because they never listen to me. And like they are like the amount of these guys who are incredibly misogynistic is like, I think you kind of have to be for the job because you kind of have to walk all over people. And I'm slightly afraid of all of the old people in the apartment building here, that they are gonna let them in and let them, I don't know, whatever they sell. I never listen to them. But it was so like it makes me so angry because he's not the first one who asked me that question. And I'm sorry, but I do not look like I'm 18 or below at all. You can't tell me that. That's just not a thing anymore. Like when I was younger, I know I look young. But I feel like I look my age, you know. I'm 31. I feel like I look my age. But I was so angry because they are so damn idiotic, these guys. And if, like, why would you ask me if I'm the daughter? Like, I look like this. This is how I stood in front of the door. How would you get the idea that I'm the daughter? And I hate how they talk to you. You know, as soon as they see my partner, they won't talk to me anymore. They only talk to him, like, over my head. I had that happen as well. And I was just so angry. I get a lot of joy out of, like, just closing the door in front of them so they can't talk anymore. But yeah, I kind of needed to, you know, let that out. You know, sometimes I have it relatively good, but I also, it's rare that I leave my house without my partner, like to go out with a dog and stuff, obviously, but like if I go somewhere, a lot of the times my partner will come with me because we enjoy spending time together, or he will drive me when I want to go somewhere so I don't have to use public transport and have it easier. So I have a lot less negative run-ins with guys because my partner is like big, like tall. He's nearly 2 meters tall, so like he's a tall guy. But yeah, once like these guys at the door see me alone, they are so horribly, idiotically misogynistic. It's incredible. I hate it here. But yeah, I needed to let that out. Okay, let's do a quick check-in. I absolutely forgot to check in with you at the beginning of the book, and I just finished it because this is definitely like a one afternoon read. But before I started my next new read, I was in the mood for a reread, and I love this series. I don't think I have them all, and I don't know if I want to like continue with the series, even though I love it, because they are obviously all really similar. But this is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire, which is a series about children who find doorways and go through them into like these surreal fantasy worlds where they live really different lives. They get kind of taken advantage of often in these worlds, but they are kind of worlds that fit the characters of the children really great. And when they start getting older in these worlds, the worlds kick them back out and they kind of come back to their families, which obviously have searched for their children. And often these children are just like really changed. They have a hard time finding back into society, and the book is pretty much about a school who takes these children in to give them a normal life, because the woman who owns the school, she was also one of those children who went through a doorway. And normally, or at least as it is explained in the beginning, these doorways don't reappear, because the world's only want children. And the book is about one of these girls who comes back, and she comes back from the world where she was supposed to stand really, really still, and it has something to do with like vampires and stuff, and she gets put into the school, and there she learns that there are other children that are similar to her with like other worlds, and then bad things start happening at the school, and they have to kind of investigate what is happening and save the school and the children in the school from what is happening. And I really like the series. I think it's a really cute, like surreal, slightly, I wouldn't say horror, but like it definitely goes into like there's gore in the books, but like it's a little bit like, it's not like in an adult horror book, if you know, but there are like scenes where like there's like there's death in the book, and macabre things, maybe macabre, is that the word in English? But might be like a better word for it. But yeah, I finished it. 5 stars as always. I think it's like the 4th or 5th time I read it now. But yeah, this was just a really needed pick-me-up in the middle of the week. Whilst the temperatures are rising and rising, I don't know what to do. We are already like above 30 degrees today, and it is only supposed to get hotter the next couple of days. But yeah, I had a productive day this morning, because my work, I had a lot of like downtime at work where I had to wait for things to install and prepare and stuff, where I could like get like a little bit of housework done and stuff, which was good. And now I desperately have to clean this room. If you can tell by the shelves, they are an absolute chaos and I can't stand it any longer. So I will now try and do a bit of a cleanup, and hopefully the room will look a little bit better for going forwards, and then hopefully I can keep it a little bit more organized. A lot of this chaos is still from like pushing furniture around and stuff like that, so it should be only an organizing session, not like a totally of like a cleanup session. So that is what I will be doing now. But yeah, I wanted to check in with you because I did finish this. I still haven't picked a book that I will start tomorrow, but it will most likely be one of these, which are still the books from the like second quarter of the year, which I've read pretty little of because I wasn't in the mood. So we'll see, but I will try to pick one of these, but they're all pretty massive. I don't know. I will have to see. I am kind of surprised I'm not a puddle yet. It is getting hotter and hotter here. We reached the middle of the 30 degrees now. Tomorrow we're supposed to get 40 degrees. It's gonna suck so hard. Let's talk reading. I actually haven't picked up another physical read because, I don't know, in this temperature I can't get like cozy, and with like my physical reads I kind of want to get cozy, you know, get into my chair, maybe have the dog on my lap, and that is just not possible with these temperatures. So I've decided, you know what, let's just stick with the romance for the rest of the week, even for the time I normally would read my physical reads, just because it's just easier to just have the phone in hand, and I don't mind reading those just like sitting up at my desk. So I read 2 in the same series. They are called Fated Mates and When to Keep Them, and Fated Mates and How to Woo Them. Both are like 3 stars for me. I like the concept of Fated Mates, but it was done different in these books, and I don't know if I love that. It makes a lot more sense, and it puts a lot less on like fate, but like why let it be Fated Mates if it's not fate? So yeah, we have, the books are by A.G. Sherwood, and Fated Mates and When to Keep Them is about a mafia boss vampire and Noel, who has a lot of trouble because of his uncle, who has like a lot of gambling debt and put Noel in danger because of that. And so Noel takes the PA job for the mafia boss vampire, which in the beginning he doesn't even know that the guy's a vampire, and vampires are known in this story, like humans know that vampires exist. And so he takes the PA position, and the vampire doesn't really want him there, but like at some point he's realizing like, wow, he does a really great job, and then Noel gets into danger, and Fernando, the vampire, realizes that he actually really likes him a lot. And then the Fated Mates thing comes into play, but in these books, the Fated Mate thing is that just some humans, like super rarely, are just super compatible with vampires, and they don't have any pain when they feed from them, and they get sexually aroused by the vampires if they feed on them. And if they are also immune to the vampires' like abilities, then they are a Fated Mate. But Fated Mates aren't like stuck with like one person. They can choose the vampire they want to be mated to, and that is the point that kind of doesn't really work for me, because for me Fated Mates is like the whole 2 people being fated for one another, and in these books it's not like our main characters all end up together and they want to have the relationship with this, which is kind of the nice thing, you know, they want the relationship, it's not like fated. But at the same time, why name it Fated Mates then? I'm slightly confused. I'm giving it 3 stars because of that. I like the characters. I like the stories. There's a lot of action. Obviously, the humans always get hurt at some point. And one thing I do like is the humans, once they are mated with the vampires, they don't have to turn into vampires. The whole fated mate thing in these books is kind of like that the vampires have one human they can feed off always, and the human will always enjoy that. And so the humans just get a longer lifespan, but they don't have to turn into vampires, which I think is actually quite nice. And so the first one is that, and then we have the second one, Fated Mates and How to Woo Them, is a son of Fernando, or like a son in the sense of like he turned him, which he has 27 of. And Chase is a architecture student. One thing, age gap, and the characters are pretty young in these stories. I just ignored that. It's also a reason why I gave it 3 stars. All of our human main characters are in 19 and 20, which I think is questionable, but it is easy to ignore because it doesn't really come up and they are all in college. So I could just make it out in my head that they are more like 23, but they are not. And so yeah, we have the second one, we have Ronan, who has studied architecture. He's an architect and he works at a garage, and he's the vampire. And then we have Chase, who's the human who is an architecture student, and he does this like charity thing, and Ronan is there because he went to the same university that Chase currently goes to, and he gets hurt, feeds from Chase because he needs blood because he hasn't drunken blood in a long time. And then they realize it's not painful for Chase, and Ronan kind of latches on to Chase, and Chase is really skeptical, and Ronan wins him over at some point. So those are the 2 I read. So I liked them, but I didn't love them because there are aspects that I really didn't like, but I like the characters themselves, and obviously for a romance you kind of need to like the characters. Though Fated Mates and How to Woo Them, the second one is really short. It's only 124 pages, and the first one is 205 pages, so they vary quite largely in length. So yeah, but it's a quick and nice read if you just ignore some aspects, which was possible for me, so it worked out. In other books it wasn't possible, so I just, DNF'd those, but I feel like in that series it's possible. Though I did start the third one and I DNF'd that. They get at some point, the aspects just get louder that I didn't like, and with the third book I wasn't super happy. It's called Fated Mates and Where to Find Them, and there we have our main character is Max, who's a friend of Chase's, but he doesn't realize Chase is together with a vampire, and he actually makes a blood contract with our main character Xander, the vampire, but he only buys Max because he realizes that Max doesn't really want to do that, and other vampires would feed from him way too often and would make his life miserable. So Xander buys him to help him and not make his life miserable, and then tries to win Max over because he really likes him. And the father and Max sells himself because his father's in the hospital and he can't afford the care that his father needs and stuff like that. But that book is the relationship is so overwhelming because Xander is way over the top. It was really uncomfortable. I found it really weird. And then all of them, which is also something that I could critique, is all of them, the humans get kidnapped again and again because there's this vampire council and they want pretty much the fanciest vampires to get the mates, but they can't force them obviously, so it's a little bit iffy on that part. But yeah, it's a series to try. I liked the first 2. I liked all of the characters, even in the third one. It's just too much in the third one, so I stopped reading it. But I did already download my book for tonight, which is called A Slice for My Demon, which is a demon and human I think Fated Mates, paranormal romance. I hope they are Fated Mates because I really love that trope, I have to say. So it might not be, but I will see. It's at least demon boyfriends, and I like demon boyfriends. It's a trope I like. So I will continue with that. Other than that, I'm just sweating. I'm not doing really much. I'm just gaming on my PC because I just really don't want to move. So yeah, that is probably what I will be doing the rest of the day. And then tomorrow I will check in about the demon book, which is also a part of a series. So if that book is great, I have a whole series to continue reading, which would be ideal, to be honest, because I really love me a good paranormal demon human series romance. So hopefully it's a good one. Okay, it is now Saturday. I mean, the temperatures are like crazy. It is doable in here. Thankfully, we managed to get the place to not heat up quite as much as yesterday. But we are also not at full sun power yet, which like crazy. It's crazy. I have something cold to drink. Let's talk about the book I read yesterday, or at least tried to read because I did not finish it. A Slice from a Demon. I did not like that book. Mostly because I am like, I don't know, 20% in, and it's just two people sleeping with each other so far. There's just not enough story, which I think is kind of funny. Like, if you would have asked me quite a while ago what I would like in romance, I don't think I would say the story of the relationship, but that book did not have a story at all. Like, it was like the demon was pursuing the human like pretty aggressively, and then they sleep with each other first in the car, then they go to the demon's house. The demon tells the human like, yeah, I'm a demon, but the human doesn't really trust him, and then once they are done, there's like the first like plot twist, and the human can't leave anymore because he's actually not human, he just doesn't remember. And then the demon is really aggressive because he thinks somebody sent him to kill him, and then they realize no, they didn't, and then they sleep with each other again. And that is all that happened in like a chunk of the book, and that just wasn't for me. I do think I might look into the other books, because the one I saw first was, I think, the fourth one. Yeah, the fourth one, which is called Drop Dead Demon, is what I first was interested in, which is about Brady, who thought Ross was his imaginary friend in childhood, but it was actually a demon that was then captured, and once he escapes, he goes back and finds Brady again because he knows it's his fated mate, and then they go kind of from there once they get back together. And I really like that description, so I might go and just read that one and try that one. But yeah, the first one was not for me. I wanted to have at least a little bit of story, and the flip-flopping from like both like really loving each other and then thinking that he's there to kill him and then jumping straight back into bed was just a little bit too much whiplash for me, to be honest. So once I realized that, I went back and reread My Demon Roommates, which is a demon fated mates novel with 3 demons who actually at the beginning of the story are also not in a relationship with one another. They have slept with each other, but more in a, we live in hell, they are only demons, we like each other, we are best friends, like, let's take care of each other. And then they go to the human world to find some escaped souls and a demon that is connected with them. And to do that, they live with a human roommate, and they all fall for the human roommate, and the human roommate falls for the demons, doesn't know they're demons, you know. The story goes from there, and then they kind of land in a relationship altogether. Really sweet story, love that, and so I reread that one because I needed something I knew that was good, that wasn't disappointing. So yeah, that was what I read yesterday, which I was really happy about. And now, before I will let you go, I want to show you what I did yarn-wise this week. because I did work quite a bit on my yarn projects. The first one I am currently working on is another basket, which I finished the bottom, and then I'm currently working on the sides, and I have like this much of the sides so far. But yeah, this is how far I've come with that one. And hopefully I can finish that one next week, because I really want to have that. And then I did start a top, and I finished the first part of the front, which is like, it's like this, and it's like halfway through, and now I'm currently working on the back so that I can connect them and then work in the round once they are long enough. And then this gets like a neck piece and then some sleeves. But it's cotton, so it will be really nice for like the summer mornings especially. And then I also did continue with my cross stitch, and I got the first little bit of color in there. I don't know how good you can see that, but yeah, I've gotten the first bit of like blue in there. And yeah, I'm making good progress, but obviously it's slow going. This is like 2.5% of the finished piece. So as you can tell, it is taking a long time, but I am really enjoying this. So that's really, really nice. But yeah, those are all of the projects I'm currently working on in tandem. Like I do a little bit of that, little bit of that, little bit of that. And that is what I will be continuing today. I will do some gaming, read a little bit, probably try the 4th book of the series, and then work a little bit on my yarn projects. And yeah, but I will finish the vlog now because it is going to be super, super hot later on. I kind of need to render the video before then, so my PC will not be dying because of the temperatures. That would be really good. So yeah, I hope your week was a little bit less hot, though I do think it's pretty hot everywhere in the world right now, somehow. I hope you had a good reading week. I mean, I didn't read what I set out to read, but I had a good reading week, romance-wise, you know. I did enjoy quite a lot of what I read this week in the romance department. So yeah, hopefully your week was good. And if you wanna, you know, tell me what you read, please do that. And hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!